Hello everyone, I'm Floriana Di Napoli. I'm a professional counselor and work and organizational psychologist and also a herbalist with a degree in pharmaceutical sciences as well. I'm based in Bologna, Italy, and I've been collaborating with CCS since 2021. Before becoming a psychologist, I've been an HR manager for several years in a social cooperative, providing work opportunities for individuals with different issues such as alcohol or drug addiction or disabilities of any kind who struggle to find a job elsewhere. As a former HR manager, a work psychologist and a CCS counselor today, I've always believed in creating a safe and healthy work environment as an ethical responsibility and a key factor for success and well-being within any organization. Success and well-being are actually intertwined. If we think about it, prioritizing well-being can enhance success in various aspects. Well-being, encompassing physical, mental, and emotional health, can lead to increased productivity, stronger relationships, and a greater sense of fulfillment, ultimately contributing to long-term success. But I'm here today to talk with you about the importance of stress awareness, going from the signs and symptoms that high stress levels can cause to some tips and strategies on how to address stress and cope with it for both companies and individuals. While a normal amount of stress puts our body in a fight or flight mode that certainly serves a solid purpose in human biology, notifying and equipping the brain to sense and respond to danger, to face a challenge or threats, or even motivate to take action and get tasks completed, chronic stress can actually lessen our quality of life and cause many negative effects. I've been asked many times why stress awareness is so important. I'd say that in my experience, I've seen in the last years how stress can be a significant factor in causing or exacerbating various health problems, including mental, emotional, and physical conditions. As for the workplace, stress can also affect productivity, job satisfaction, performance, and overall well-being, leading to burnout, decreased efficiency, and again, health issues. Therefore, raising awareness about stress is important in order to recognize and understand its signs, symptoms, and effects. It's about being mindful of how stress manifests, taking proactive steps to promote stress management and support individuals and employees to maintain a healthy environment where people feel valued, safe, and also empowered to seek help when needed. But how can we recognize stress signs? As pointed out before, stress can be a significant factor in causing various health problems, including mental, emotional, behavioral, and physical conditions. Let's talk about some of these effects in particular. For example, as for mental health issues, stress can trigger or worsen existing anxiety disorder, as well as contribute to the development of depression. It can trigger panic attacks characterized by intense fear and physical symptoms as well. Exposure to traumatic events can lead to PTSD, a mental health condition characterized by intrusive thoughts, nightmares, avoidance behaviors, and other different symptoms. Chronic stress can also contribute to the development of personality disorders and other mental health challenges. As for behavioral changes, we can talk about substance use, for example. Stress can lead to increased alcohol consumption, smoking, or even other substance use behaviors. Changes in eating habits, for example, stress can cause people to overeat or develop eating disorders. Avoidance behaviors as well. Stress can lead to people avoiding social situations, families, colleagues, friends, or even activities they used to enjoy. As for the physical health problems, there are many symptoms that are caused by stress. For example, stress can increase the risk of high blood pressure, heart disease, other cardiovascular problems. It can contribute to the development of type 2 diabetes, Chronic stress weakens the immune system, making individuals more susceptible to infection or illness. Stress can also affect the digestive system, leading to problems such as the irritable bowel syndrome, for example. It can also disrupt sleep patterns, leading to insomnia or other sleep disorders. Stress can also cause muscle tension, pains, headaches, and so on. Along with these signs, it's anyway very important to point out stress signs within an organization. There are different signs a manager, a colleague may recognize, as well as tools that can be used to raise awareness, provide support, and prevent burnout. For instance, the psychosocial risk assessment, which, by the way, CCS provides, helps companies identify stress-related risks and ensure compliance with employee psychological safety regulations, or the employee assistance program, which the employee can ask for. As we all know, there is a strong connection between companies and their workforce. Companies need to aid their employees' physical and mental health, but employees at the same time need to aid themselves in coping with stress. A stressed employee, anyway, usually shows different signs like decreased productivity, struggling to meet deadlines, increasing errors, or lacking of focus. Changes in mood, such as increased irritability, frustration, or withdrawal from team interaction. There are also some physical symptoms, such as frequent headaches, fatigue, or increased sick days due to these symptoms. Loss of motivation, of course, lack of enthusiasm, disengagement from work, reluctance to take on other tasks. And last but not least, increased absenteeism, more frequent lateness, sick leave, requests for time off. But by staying aware of these signs and fostering open communication, employers can actually address stress early and support their employees' well-being. Now, after having seen some of the signs that stress can cause, let's have a look to some stress management strategies. And I'd start to say that all the strategies that work on a personal level are important also on an organizational field, since we're all human beings moving and acting with our unique and complex organisms as a whole. It may seem sometimes like there's nothing you can do about stress, no way to avoid it, no way to de-stress completely when it hits. Because the bills won't stop coming, there will never be more hours in a day, work and family responsibility will always be demanding. But living with high levels of stress means putting your entire individual well-being at risk. Stress wreaks havoc on the emotional equilibrium, as well as the overall physical and mental health. It narrows the ability to think clearly, function properly, and enjoy life. Therefore, stress management techniques and coping strategies are really, really important in order to improve how to react to stressful things in your life and build resilience. First of all, managing stress is about taking care and taking charge of thoughts, emotion, schedule, environment, and the way you deal with problems. The ultimate goal is a balanced life with time for work, time for relationships, time for relaxation and fun, plus the ability to hold up under pressure and meet challenges head on. But anyway, there's no one-size-fits-all solution to stress management. That's why it's important to try and find out what works best for the individual, for the company, or for the team we are working with. Anyway, whether you're looking to reduce your overall stress level or avoid unnecessary stressors or deal with stress in the moment, some stress management techniques and strategies can really help. Let's see some of them. First of all, identify the causes of stress in your life. Stress management starts with identifying the sources of stress. This isn't as straightforward as it sounds. While it's easy to identify major stressors such as changing jobs, having new managers and new tasks, or moving or going through divorce, Pinpointing the sources of chronic stress can be more complicated. For instance, you may know that you are constantly worried by your work deadlines, but maybe it's your procrastination rather than the actual job demands that's causing the stress. Now, to identify what's really stressing you out, you can look closely at your habits, attitude, and excuses and ask yourself, do you explain away stress as temporary? I just have a billion things going on right now, even though you can't remember the last time you took a breather. Do you define stress as a normal part of your work or home life? Things are always crazy around here, or as part of your personality? Do you blame your stress on other people or outside events, or view it as entirely normal and exceptional? Sometimes it can be useful to keep a stress journal. A stress journal can help actually identifying the regular stressor in your life and the way you deal with them. As you keep a daily log or keep also a stress tracker on your phone, you will begin to see patterns and common themes. So you can write down what caused you stress, how you felt, both physically, for example, and emotionally. Are you active in response? What you did to make yourself feel better. The second strategy is to recognize your coping mechanism and replace unhealthy coping strategies with healthy ones. Think about the ways you currently manage and cope with stress in your life. Are your coping strategy healthy? Many of us cope with stress in ways that make us feel better temporarily, but compound the problem in the long run. Unhealthy ways of dealing with stress can be, for example, using alcohol or drugs to relax, binging on junk or comfort food, zoning out for hours and mind wandering on your phone or in front of the TV, withdrawing from friends, family and social activities, sleeping too much, or filling up every minute of the day to avoid facing problems, taking out your stress on others, or procrastinating. A third strategy is called the practice of the 4 A's for stress management. There are many healthy ways to reduce stress and cope with its effects, but they all require change. You can either change the situation or change your reaction to it. When deciding which option to choose, it's helpful to think of the 4 A's. Avoid, alter, accept, or adapt. First, avoid unnecessary stress. Not all stress can be avoided, of course, and it's not healthy to avoid a situation that needs to be addressed. But you may be surprised by the number of stressors in your life that you can actually eliminate. 2. Alter the situation. If you can't avoid a stressful situation, try to alter it. Often this involves changing the way you communicate and operate in your life. Be willing to compromise, because if you are asking for a change, you may be the one who has to change too. Being more assertive, for example. 3. Adapt to the stressor. If you can't change the stressor, change yourself. You can adapt the stressful situation and regain your sense of control by changing your expectations and attitude. So reframe problems and try to view stressful situations from a different perspective. It can be useful to look at the big picture. Take perspective of the stressful situation and ask yourself how important it will be in the long run. Will it matter in a month, in a year? If the answer is no, focus your time and energy elsewhere. It's also important to adjust your standards. Perfectionism is a major source of avoidable stress. Stop setting yourself up for failure by demanding perfection. Set reasonable standards for yourself and also for others, and learn to be okay with good enough. 4A. Accept the things you can't change. Some sources of stress are unavoidable. You can't prevent or change stressors such as the death of a loved one, a serious illness, nationalization, politics. In such cases, the best way to cope with stress is to accept things as they are. Acceptance may be really difficult, but in the long run, it's easier than railing against a situation you can't change. There are, of course, other stress management techniques. in addition to the ones we've just talked about. I'm talking about moving more during the day, and it's not about going to the gym each day. We can take a walk with the dog, take the stairs instead of the elevators. Moving, exercising releases endorphins that make you feel good, and it can also serve as a valuable distraction from your daily worries. While moving, while exercising, it could be useful to make a conscious effort to pay attention to your body and the physical, sometimes even emotional sensations. Focus on coordinating your breathing with your movements, for example, or notice how the air, the wind, the sunlight, the rain feels on your skin. Adding these mindfulness elements will help you break out of the cycle of negative thoughts that often accompanies overwhelming stress. With practice, mindfulness helps individuals learn to process emotions, thoughts, sensations as they arise. We can learn to modify our reflexive conditioning from automatically reacting or worrying about the future to a more adaptive, measured response with greater awareness of the present moments. Another techniques and another strategy could be to reach out and connect to others. There is nothing more calming than spending quality time with another human being who makes us feel safe and understood. In fact, face-to-face interaction triggers a cascade of hormones that counteracts the body's defensive fight or flight response that we were talking at the beginning of this intervention. Make time for fun and relaxation. Beyond the take charge approach and the positive attitude, you can reduce stress in your life by carving out me time. Nurturing yourself is a necessity, it's not a luxury. If you regularly make time for yourself, for relaxation, for fun, you'll be in a better place to handle life's stressor. Maintain balance with a healthy lifestyle. Eating healthy diets, getting enough sleep. Well-nourished bodies are better prepared to cope with stress, so be mindful of what you eat, how you sleep, and so on. There are also strategies that are quite important for the present moment. Let's say that when you are frazzled by your morning commute, stuck in a stressful meeting at work, or fried from another argument with your spouse, you need a way to manage your stress levels right now. That's where quick stress relief comes in. The fastest way to reduce stress is by taking a deep breath and using your senses, what you see, hear, taste, and touch, or through a soothing movement. By viewing a favorite photo, smelling a specific scent, listening to your favorite music, tasting a piece of cake, hugging a pet, for example, you can quickly relax and focus yourself. Of course, not everyone responds to each sensory experience in the same way, so the key to quick stress relief is to try and discover the unique sensory experiences that work best for you. So, if the individual strategies may include time management, relaxation techniques, meditation, mindfulness, exercise, healthy diet, seeking support from friends, family, or professionals. On an organizational level, it's important, first of all, to recognize the key stress factors like heavy workload, unrealistic deadlines, lack of control, poor communication, and challenging work relationships. So after that, develop strategies that include open communication among team members, between a manager and employee, clear expectations from managers to employees, and vice versa. Flexible work arrangement, which are really important for stressed employees. Stress management training and employee assistance programs. The key benefits of these strategies implementation in the workplace will be improved employee well-being, helping employees recognize stress triggers and adopt coping strategies, enhance the productivity, reducing absenteeism and boosting focus and efficiency, positive work culture, fostering open communication and teamwork, reduced health risk, minimizing stress-related illness like anxiety, as we have already seen before, depression, and also heart disease, boosted employee retention, creating a healthier work environment, reducing turnover rates. So, by fostering a culture of stress awareness, companies can enhance employee morale and overall business success. But how to support employees in a concrete way? The employee well-being is very important for the entire company's well-being. When an HR manager, a leader, or a colleague recognizes that some stress indicators are really present in the moment in the environment, it'd be important to address the employee to a pathway leading to mental health support. This may include first aiders. HR managers can sometimes provide initial support to colleagues experiencing mental health and stress issues. They can spot early signs and symptoms, engage in supporting conversation, listen non-judgmentally, and encourage access to professional help or self-help strategies. They also play a vital role in breaking down the stigma. Employee Assistance Program that offers voluntary confidential services to help employees manage personal and work-related challenges. It aims to improve employee well-being, productivity, and overall workplace morale. Workshops and group meetings, I really believe in them as well, because they could enhance overall employee wellness. Topics could be different. It could include mindfulness breathing techniques to reduce stress, financial well-being strategies, communication skills, building resilience to cope with workplace challenges, and so on. Now, after all this little presentation, I'd like to point out some cases I encountered in my experience. As a CCS counselor, I received different requests involving stress management. The ones I'm thinking about now can be two useful examples of recognizing and understanding both individual and work-related key stress factors, realizing how stress can affect the overall well-being and implementing some strategies and techniques to overcome stress. The first request came from a 45-year-old employee who was seeking assistance because he was going through a hard separation. He wasn't used to open up and share his feeling and emotions, so we talked about the possibility of keeping a journal and try not to bottle feelings up. This has been an important tool for him to better know himself and the way he was coping with grief, with anger and stress. His personal problems, the relationship issues, the financial difficulties he was experiencing had a huge impact on his work as well. His absenteeism increased, he was often not focused, he was irritable and intolerant. So we talked about the possibility of altering the situation, if you remember the 4 A's I was talking about before. So we talked about the possibility to share his condition with his closest colleague, sharing duties and responsibility where it was possible, of course, talking to his manager as well in order to create a healthy work environment, which then represented the starting point to rebuild himself and get back into the game, even in his personal life. This is a case in which a healthy work environment can help an employee's empowerment, supporting his cope mechanism also in his personal issues. Another case was about a 63-year-old employee who was experiencing a serious burnout due to many years of work and the generational change at the managerial level. He couldn't stand the new pace of work, nor did he want to change job given the few years he had left until retirement. So some of the strategies implemented in this case included talking to his managers in a respectful but assertive way, putting his limits on the plate and try to meet the company's needs, participating in team meetings more actively and becoming part of the working reality with his knowledge and possibilities, by giving the best of himself without of course, overwhelming himself. On the other side, we also worked on his personal issues and on the relationship with his family, which improved and became an important lever to better live his workplace and observe his professional situation from a different and broader perspective. This is the case in which improved communication skills and personal life can empower an employee and let him live better his days at work. Thank you very much, and see you next time. Bye!